Hmm. Does that seem to be working a little bit better? Hmm. Is it still freezing then? Hmm. Huh. Um. God, I don't know what I can do to fix that. Uh. Because my streaming isn't particularly crazy, I don't think. Bitrate is 2K. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Also, hello, Codeman Chris, or Codeman Chris. Or wait, Coderman Chris. Aha! Welcome to the Devstream. Hmm. I have noticed that sometimes I have had weird situations where a particular dev stream was weird for me. Usually it's only for the duration of that stream. I don't know if it's because of where I'm at, or maybe it's just my internet provider. But if other people are seeing it fine, and on my stream, from what I've been able to see on my Twitch page, it seems fine. It's just weird that some people would have it and other people wouldn't. Um, I guess last ditch effort is to switch browsers to something else. Um, but either way, we are back. All right. Yes. Welcome, Chris. It's always good to have a fellow Chris on the stream. And of course, I have to. I'm obliged to ask, how did you manage to find us here in the dark void of the internet somehow? All right. So this is now set up to support spatialization, which means that I need to go here, and we're going to say sound. Do we have a spatialization going on here? No. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of cheat for now and just say 1F. All right. So we'll go ahead and say 0F here for our spatialization. 0 means that it's going to be a 2D sound, so no matter how far away from the sound we are, um, we'll be able to hear it. So it's not going to be based on where we are spatially in relation to the source. I only get 12 megabits per second for my download speed. Huh. It's odd that it worked for you, Chris, but Bo's having trouble. Hmm. Search programming. All right. Well, that's what we're doing today. Programming and audio. All right. So this forms the basics of getting our our music manager to actually play something. Um, so if we wanted to, we can go ahead and actually test this. Let's go ahead and go over here to music test and just say uh, music system dot play clip, and that will be good. Let's go ahead and let that compile. Welcome back, Bo. Is it still stuttering for you, or is it a little bit better this time? All right, so let's go ahead and add this music test. We'll go ahead and just add music manager to our or music system to our canvas. It's not really going to do much right now. All right, so we want this to use the music group, and of course this isn't going to do that, so I have to look for my sound source. I really wish I knew why custom searches using the dot don't work. I think it's a weird thing that Unity does. If I remember correctly, you can only look for things that Unity natively supports, which is kind of frustrating. Either way, let's go ahead and assign our references here. So we have music 1 button, music 2 button, music 3 button. All right, and now for our audio clips. We are going to get to listen to some audio that we have not heard for a long time. because I only have the very tiny amount of music that I have. Let's see. It's not placeholder. It's probably an overworld. There we are. Okay, that's fine. They're going to be super loud, by the way. Alright, so let's go for planes 1, 2, and 3 for these. And cool. So now we should be able to play. Oh, right. Saving the scene. We'll call this music test. Squad. Oh, wait, no, wrong thing. Test music. There we go. Alright. Seems fine. Alright. That's good. Although, I'd have to assume that eventually it's going to do something terrible, because it always does. Alright, so they're not going to crossfade each other out right now. Right. Oh, right, that's going to necessitate actually a pretty different setup, I think. This is going to be pretty weird. So... Oh, man. Thinking about how to do this. The stream has yet to set my house on fire. 5 out of 7. I'll give it time. It's more of a slow burn, honestly. It starts where you least expect it. All right, so we do have a 2-second crossfade, which you can sort of hear. Let's try for something that's a little bit more apparent out the gate. So if we listen, we'll see it. We will hear it crossfade from nothing to full volume in about 2 seconds. That's actually a terrible one to start on. I think Music 1 is going to be our best bet for that, because Music 3 actually does have that synth music to it, which kind of makes it hard to tell that you're lerping volume. So there you can hear it getting louder. Fire spread to the fridge and burnt all my garlic bread. 2 out of 7. Killed my garlic bread. Yeah, but now your house smells like garlic. So 3 out of 7? Maybe 4. Maybe 4. All right, so now we need to. We have music playing, but now we need it to actually stop other music from playing when you request a specific music piece to play. So for that, we need to keep track of all of the sources that we have active. And we also, this is going to be the interesting part, we are going to need to allow, at some point, we're going to need to allow multiple pieces of music to be passed at the same time. Because if we're doing any sort of crossfading between songs, for environmental purposes, like going below water and getting the same track but with just a more watery sound to it, we don't actually want to stop the other music. We want them to just kind of crossfade seamlessly between them. So that's something that we're going to have to anticipate. Well, not anticipate, plan for. But for now, we're just going to focus on single clip or single source music. So we're going to add the source that we created. We're going to say sources.add source. Oops, there we go. And next, we're going to do this. For int I equals 0, I is less than sources.count I plus plus. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and say sources of I dot stop, and we will give it the crossfade for the duration of that. And once that's done, we are going to want to clean it up. And actually, sound source might automatically clean itself up for us. Maybe. Maybe not. Nope. Right, it just calls on sound complete. So, but I can't eat garlic bread. 2.4 out of 7. I think magic garlic bread creating fire is a pretty good thing to have normally. I could be wrong on that, but okay. So the sound sources aren't going to clean themselves up, but I can set it so that when we play music, it does automatically clean up the audio source when it's done. So we'll go ahead and down here say private void on music stopped. We're going to need to give it a sound source. Source. So we're going to say source dot on sound complete plus equals on music stopped. And this will basically listen for the sound source to stop, and then it will recycle it when it's done. So we'll say source dot on sound complete minus equals on music stopped. All right, and then we'll just go ahead and say pool manager. Except I can't spell pool manager apparently. Pool manager. Third time's the charm. Pool manager dot recycle and source dot. Do I have a cached game object? I do. Haha. Caching for the win. Garlic bread was good, but the fire's becoming abusive. It lured you in with promises of garlic bread. All right. So this should stop music that is currently playing, as well as start playing music that needs to be played. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to make sure that I do sources.remove source. Don't want to forget to remove the source from my list. That would be awkward. Hello, Garrett. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? I've been slapped by the... Alright, let's see here. So now our music should seamlessly crossfade, and it should actually fade out when we start a new piece of music. Okay, so there's our fade in. Okay, so it does fade out. Cool. Doing well. I was recording a quick overview of my new game prototype. 24 minutes later. Yeah, I'm terrible at recording videos for TextQuest, because I always get bogged down in like a 5-hour session of like, no, this isn't good enough. I gotta go through all of my footage again to find the good parts that I want to use, and I gotta composite them all together to make it look right, and it's a never-ending nightmare. How's your prototype coming, by the way? I don't think I've seen an update on it. Or I guess I haven't looked into it. And has it been a month? I feel it's been a while. Either way, hopefully it's coming along well. Okay, so we have crossfading working between music. So now we're going to step it up to supporting multiple pieces of music at once, and then seamlessly crossfading between those. So that's going to require actually a little bit of extra work, because we're going to need to look for, we'll need to get the currently active sources, and we will need to know what sources are playing what, so that we can crossfade between them. So let's go ahead and go up here. We're going to say public static void get source, I guess. And that's actually not going to be a void. That's going to be a sound source. All right. So it's going to take an audio clip initially. Yeah, we'll say music. We'll also need to support int IDs and then sounds, of course. So we're going to say for int. Wow, I can't even spell for loop. Int I equals 0. I is less than sources dot count I plus plus. Oops, instance dot sources. There we go. Let's see. And then at the end here we'll return null if necessary. So 10 seconds? Oh. Wait, what minigame doesn't give you AP? There should only be the two, scratchers and pick a card. I don't think I have a third one. Um, let's see. It's going okay. Long road. Yeah. I guess what's the major thing you've been messing with recently? All right, so now we're going to loop through all of these sources and see if their clips match the clip that we've been passed. We're going to say if source dot, oops, not that, instance dot sources of I dot clip is equal to music. We will return instance dot sources of I. We're going to do the same thing down here. So get source, this one is going to be an int ID. So we're going to say, is it sound ID? Yeah. Then we're going to do that. And we will also go ahead and say, same thing, except this one's going to pass a sound, and it's going to say sound ID is equal to music dot ID. There we go. Simple as that. So now we're going to need, so that'll let us retrieve our sources, but now we're going to need to allow multiple sources to be passed at the same time, or multiple clips to be passed at the same time. It made me click numbers. Getting out of school, what's tomorrow? It's the first week of November. I feel like there's nothing really going on. Well, second week of November. I feel like there's not a lot going on that week. Terrain appearance, grass, clouds, rain and snow, doing a full four season cycle in the game. Wow. Is that going to be on a reduced time scale? I would assume. Well, I mean, I would assume it's obviously not real time seasons, but how are you planning on presenting that? Just different areas have different seasons, or are you planning on doing like a full-on season cycle for the entirety of the world? Okay, so sorry, got distracted. So down here, we're gonna go ahead and say public static void play. Except I can't type. So I have a little bit of a conundrum here. I can either have music. It's going to be at the front. I was going to try to get the music in like a params thing, but params has to be at the end of your statement, and I really don't like doing that if it's the most important thing. So I'm just going to have to do an audio clip. Oops, except I can't even spell audio clip. Audio clip. Music. Same thing for everything else, pretty much. All right, let's go ahead and go back over here. All right, pretty much the same thing as before. So we're going to convert this to an int. Get rid of our extra spacing because I don't like having that there. Whole terrain, players on an island. So tree, leaves change, snow falls, grass changes, the whole thing. Oh, okay. Has it always been on an island? I remember seeing waterfront stuff, but I wasn't sure if the entire world was on an island, or if it was just like a coastal area. Either way, that's pretty good. Alright, last one is going to be for sound. And then we are going to have... We're going to have a custom play music function down here that takes basically a multitude of potential clips. So we'll go ahead and duplicate this. Same thing, except this one's going to take an array of music clips. And then we'll fix that in a second. So we're just going to say instance.play music, crossfade. Crud. So this one also needs to come with an index, actually. Int. Oh, geez, is that? Nope, nope, nope. Okay, this one gets weird. Um, because when I'm passing in multiple pieces of music, I need to know which one to play, or rather, which one should be played initially, and then any additions that we want to do to that, we can simply grab that at a later time. Um, Also, that does mean that I'm going to need. No, no, never mind. I was going to say I need to associate audio clips, but that's not actually true because all of them are associated in the sense that they're all playing at the same time. They're all going to be active music. Um, Island makes it easy to do a boundary, no fake walls, just ocean. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, and I mean, it's good to think about basically ways to let the player know that they can't go anywhere. Because honestly, the most frustrating thing, in my opinion, for a lot of open world games is, or sandbox games, I suppose, is the invisible wall. It just drives me nuts. All right. So for this gets a little bit nastier, doesn't it? We're gonna have to say um, sound array sounds. No. Yeah, we'll call it sound. No, sounds fine. Is equal to new sound, and then music dot length. So it's going to be that array. And we're just going to loop through our music. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than music dot length, I plus plus. And then we're going to go ahead and say, finally at the end here, we'll just say play sounds crossfade loop and volume. Oh, I just realized that I don't need that for any of these, do I? Don't need volume or loop because that's automatic in the sounds. So let's get rid of you. There we go. Plus, I want to do a pirate theme. Arr. All right, all right. Do you know what your narrative is going to be yet? I feel like narrative is too strong of a word. What your premise is going to be, the context for why the player is there. Sounds of I is equal to sound manager dot instance dot find music of I. All right, that all works. And no. I'm not sure if I should have the sound manager be referenced here. I mean, it's a convenient shortcut, but I feel like I can actually move this get or this find function into this class so that it's less dependent on it. For now, it's fine, I suppose. Plot narrative. Current thought is a treasure hunter. Go from island to island, finding stuff, returning to town to sell. All right. Yeah, I always just like to ask because I'm not the type of person that requires a like fully penned book for my story, but I do need context. So at the very least, I require like Doom levels of context. Like I need to know where I am and why I'm there. That's pretty much it. I don't need to know deep reasons necessarily to enjoy it, but I would like to at least know context. Um, all right, so that's that, and then finally we're just going to kind of do the same thing here, where we're going to do. I guess we'll actually just kind of steal this. And actually, you know what? I guess we're. Oh, that does complicate things. Maybe I should pull in the loop and volume for these because I don't really have a single sound anymore, so I can't easily reference what sound should loop and what sound shouldn't. So either they all should or they all shouldn't. So let's go ahead and change this to say loop and then volume. All right. I am going to have to convert this to audio clip. Convert that back to an audio clip. And let's see, instance.find. Instead, I can just do this. Music of I.clip. All right. That should be good. And then loop and volume. Cool. But I do need to have, like I said, I need an index of some kind here so that I know which clip should be faded in and all the other ones should be at mute, basically. You have to save the president. Are you a bad enough dude? Hey, I mean, hey, it did work for bad dudes, so... Sounds real neat. Alright. So we should have multiple music pieces being almost ready to go. Not quite yet. Because we need to figure that out. What if I want to have multiple ones is the problem. If I want to have multiple ones faded in, that's where I run into problems. Because my original idea was just going to be int, like active index, which would probably be 0. So the first one that you pass in. Although, you know what, I might as well make it not be set in. But what if I want to have 2 of them going at the same time? Or if you're like underwater, I would need to have the base one and the water one going. So, dang it, this gets into. No, it can't be params either because you can't. I can't. Well. All right. We'll try it with params for now, just to see if we can get that to work. Params, int, active indexes. So it's going to be a little strange, but we do need to know at the very least which ones are getting passed in. So, all right, let's go ahead and do comma, active indexes. We'll assign that to the rest of these. All right. Right. Paste that in. Params. Oops, not that. Int array. All right. So let's see. We're going to loop through again all of our active sources and stop them. And then we will also say. So this chunk of code is going to be a little different. It's going to be in a for loop basically. So we're going to say for int I equals 0, I is less than music dot length I plus plus. We're going to move basically all of this fun stuff in here. That there. All right, we're going to say music of I. Now. This is where it kind of gets weird. Dang it. And since it's a params, I can't even do it contains. Of course. Because I can't have nice things. Which means that I have to loop through it every time that I want it. Gross. Unless I can do. No. I've been working in JavaScript too much recently. I keep thinking that arrays have index of, but that's not right. That's only JavaScript. Right. Dang it. I'll just have to bite the bullet on that. And do this. List int indexes is equal to new list int. Can I pass it a? Oh, look at that! I can. Active indexes. That's what I was hoping for. And then we're just going to say, so instead of crossfade here, indexes dot contains I, which actually this is going to have to change. I think I'm going to have to do this. Int index is equal to I, because otherwise it's going to get kind of weird. I'm just going to say contains index. If that is the case, that means that we want this to be an active sound, so it will have a crossfade. Otherwise it's going to be a 0F, so it'll just not lerp at all. And we're going to do something similar over here for volume, except if it's false, it'll just be set to 0. Okay, so I'm going to wrap those two things in parentheses, purely for my own organizational purposes. And let's see. So I think that this will work, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be kind of awkward, but I think it will work. So let's go ahead and go back here. Oh man, I don't even have good test cases for this, unfortunately, which is kind of annoying. So we're not going to get particularly good music to listen to. It's kind of going to all clash over each other, but we should be able to at least hear it. All right, so we know that music 1 button, that all works. Let's go ahead and change this. Well, you know what, let's just duplicate this. Make this 4, 5, and 6 button. Leave that as is. We'll go ahead and say private void on music clicked, and then we will pass in an audio clip array clips. Cool. Let's go ahead and copy this real quick. Oh, and actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and make that a params. Aha! Makes it even easier for me. Go ahead and do this. So music, oops, 4, 5, and 6. On music clicked, we'll do music 1, music 2, music 3, and then music 3 and music 1. Cool. So now we should be able to simultaneously play 2 songs at once. That's not what we would actually use this for. Again, we would use this more for crossfading between like a underwater version of a song and a above water version of the song. But those two need to be playing at the same time. One just needs to be crossfaded out. So let's go ahead and say music system.play. We'll give it the clips. That should be good. Go ahead and let that run out. I'm going to duplicate these guys, set their position to be -100. Compile. I command you. There we go. Let's go ahead and open these up, move them into the correct positions, rename them. So that's music 4. Make sure that says 4. Oops. Music 5. Make sure it says 5. And 6. Ah, dang it. I hate it when it does that. It doesn't actually take your changes. 6. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and assign those. I don't know why my thing's so tall. 4, 5, 6. Alright, so let's give this a try. So it's going to be a bit of a cacophony of sounds, but hopefully it'll at least work. Oh, right. I didn't pass any active things. Well, there we go. So we'll go ahead and say crossfade of 2F with looping set to true, I guess. Volume of 1F and active indexes, we'll say 1. Or no, I'm sorry, not 1, 0. Okay, so now it should play the first song, but not the second song. But both of them should be plain, which we'll be able to see by looking at the hierarchy. So let's give that a shot. Okay. So you can see that both of them are plain, but only one is actually active. Okay. So now we're going to need to find a way to lerp between those two. So, wow, this is going to be nuts. Okay. How do we want to do this? Jeez. So I need to know which one is active currently. And I can't just use if one is plain and the others aren't, because all of them have to be plain. It's just that the ones that are not active need to have a volume of 0. Otherwise, if they're not plain, when I try to crossfade, it's going to be very apparent that I'm starting a new version of the song whenever I try to crossfade. They need to seamlessly crossfade. So that's going to make it challenging. Let's see. Let's, for the sake of convenience right now, let's go ahead and crossfade, add a new button. This is going to be our crossfade button. And whenever that's clicked, we're going to do private void on crossfade clicked. We're basically going to crossfade between whatever the active song is to the inactive song. And what we'll do is we'll set this up in a way that's a little bit easier to know. So first up, we're going to need to go to music system, and we're going to have to add a public getter for active indexes. So this is going to be fun. We'll go ahead and say public static int. Now here's where it gets a little wonky. Ideally, I would have one int for active index, but since I can pass multiple ones, it means that I have to actually allow multiple ones to be active at the same time. And I guess that's kind of the best thing I can do. I was hoping I could leave it as one just so that I could do like active index plus plus, and then it would automatically handle things like wrapping if you go over the amount of possible instances to set the first one to be active again. But that seems like a little too automatic, and it wouldn't always necessarily be the desired result. So let's go ahead and change this to a list of integers. We'll call this active indexes. And we'll go ahead and say, should I guess I'm going to have to do that. Man, this is super weird. So we're actually going to need to have a list of these. So we'll say private list int active indexes is equal to new list int. We'll go ahead and just say get return instance.active indexes. And then down here, when we actually start playing music in bunches, we are going to have to make sure that I was a little worried about this. So I guess we'll actually change this to say this dot active indexes is equal to active indexes. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. This dot active indexes dot add range. It's going to pass the active indexes, and before that we'll just say this dot active indexes dot clear. Just wipe that. Okay. Go ahead and make these guys do that. I don't. Oh, right. I have to do this dot active indexes. Right. That's fair. All right. And that should automatically set which indexes are currently active. Once I do that, then I can retrieve them. Also, I suppose when I start playing an audio clip um, in a non-group fashion, I should probably say active index is 0. So we'll go ahead and say active indexes dot clear, and then active indexes dot add 0. Also not dot add range, just add. So if you're only playing one song, then it does have an active index. That active index is just 0 for the one that's playing. Okay, so that lets us know which ones are active. So I suppose we'll do a simple crossfade trick here, which will, this is going to be fun. I need to actually add a different thing here. So we're going to say public static void crossfade. Then we will say int active, or no, target index. Target index. I suppose we'll give it a float for the amount of time. Crossfade. I will say duration. Is equal to 2f by default. Everything else is the same. We don't really care about it. Cool. So we're going to say, we'll change this to crossfade so I can have consistency. So I'm going to need to say for int I is equal to 0. Right, that also means that I need to make this params, don't I? Params int active indexes. Oi. For int I is equal to 0, I is less than active indexes dot length I plus plus. Oops, that did not work out for me. There we go. Maybe I should make these like target indexes instead. I feel like that will help dissuade things. And also, this actually does need to be active indexes anyway. Because I need to loop through the ones that are currently in existence. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and change these to target indexes instead of active indexes. Change that. Because then I can get rid of this stuff. Which cleans up my code a little bit. Which is pretty nice. Let's see. Used in those two areas, that's fine. Get rid of you. Alright. So that's a nice little bit of renaming that we've done. We should be able to get the currently active indexes. We're going to loop through those and tell them to... I can't tell them to stop. I have to tell them to fade to 0. So I'm going to need to say sound... Oh, nope. Instance dot sources of active indexes of I think that's correct, dot set volume. Yep. We'll go ahead and say 0f with the crossfade as its duration. All right. And then we're basically going to have to do the same thing and say for int I is equal to 0, I is less than target indexes dot length I plus plus. And then at the end here, we're going to say instance dot active indexes dot clear, then instance dot active indexes dot add range, target indexes. Okay, so that all works. And then we're going to go ahead and say basically this exact same thing. Crossfade should probably have volume, shouldn't it? Yeah, I guess. All right. Oh, dang it. I just realized I probably shouldn't crossfade active indexes or current active indexes if they're part of the target indexes as well. All right. Um, Dang it. Okay. Let me think. So I'm going to want to do this basically. Not public. What am I thinking? List int indexes is equal to new list int target indexes. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and say if indexes dot contains I. If not that, no, that's not right. It would be this. If it doesn't contain one of the active indexes, then we're going to actually crossfade that. Okay. I think that should do it. Oh, except for the volume thing. Right. Okay. I guess we'll just have to set volume. So float volume is equal to 1f. We'll go ahead and say volume. Here, volume. I think that's pretty much all I can really do there. Cool. I think that will do it. So now I can actually handle the crossfade click stuff. So I'm going to want to say music. Oh no. I have to do actually a pretty complicated thing. I'm going to want to say list. No, I can't do list. All right, go up here real quick. Using system.collections.generic. Say list int active indexes is equal to music system dot active indexes, and then we're going to want to say if active indexes of 0 is equal to 0. Oops, did that wrong. Then we're going to do if else here. Okay, so I'm going to say music system dot crossfade. We'll do a 2f crossfade with a 1f volume and target indexes of 1. Okay, and otherwise we are going to fade to 0. That should work, I hope. So we'll say crossfade button dot on click. Oops. Find selectable on left. That's interesting. On click dot add listener on crossfade clicked. Cool. So all of that effort for us to set up crossfading, and hopefully have it work the first time. Okay. So let's go ahead and real quick, we're going to duplicate music 5 button because that's in the center. We're going to move that down to negative 200. Rename that to crossfade button. Go ahead and say crossfade. Go ahead and assign that. Cool. So now we should be able to seamlessly crossfade. It's going to be interesting actually trying to handle errors on this, because if we try to crossfade before we have multiple ones, or if we try to crossfade to one that's out of range, it's probably going to cause problems. So, okay, let's crossfade. Well, that didn't work. Interesting. So, put in some debugs here to see which one it's doing. Debug.log. Crossfade to 1. Let's say crossfade to 0 here. And let's see, go to definition. So we're going to get our indexes, not indexes dot contains active indexes of I. Then we will, so if it doesn't contain it, then we are going to crossfade. That's correct. And, oh, I suppose I should also go ahead and do this as well, because there's no reason to crossfade it if it already is working. All right, so let's let that compile and then see what happens. Oh, and also make sure that I did actually do this right. Let's see, active indexes dot clear, add range, target indexes. No, that should be right. Go ahead and clear that. Give it a shot. Oop. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. So, uh, it's crossfading, but it's not crossfading the ones that are active out. Why? Hmm. That's interesting. Let's go to Music Manager real quick. Wait. I might know what's happening here. I might have done something stupid. Ah, there it is. That's duh. That would be why. Wait, no. Never mind. I was gonna say the volume needs to be 1. Um. Huh. Okay. So interesting. Let's put in some debugs here. I have to be doing something stupid. I must have overlooked something that's like very basic, and therefore I'm not seeing it for some reason. Debug.log. Try to fade active indexes of I. And then we'll go ahead and say fading that. Because what should be happening here is basically whenever I click on crossfade, it will fade out the music that's currently playing and then fade up the music that should already be playing but is just silent behind or beside it. So let's give that a shot. Huh. That's so weird. That is incredibly strange. So we try to fade, and it says that we're successfully doing it. Is it doing something weird? Go here, set volume, go to definition, set volume coroutine, go to definition. I'm not doing something weird, right? Oh, wait, this is taking 2 volumes here. Hold on. Set volume. Cache source.volume. Right, so if we only pass 1 volume, then that means that it's basically going to crossfade from its current volume down to whatever value we set. But is that not working? Interesting. All right then. Let's see here. So we're calling set volume with a value of 0f for our target volume, which means that it should set it to be silence. A duration of our crossfade, and then we have a callback. And that's all fine. This is weird. It does... Is my active source not actually... hold on. Yes, I see you. Let me make sure that my sound source that's active is the one that I expect. Let's see. Play audio clip sound, all this fun stuff. Start coroutine, plain coroutine. So I'm going to add a little bit of a debug feature in here that says that if I'm in the editor, I'm going to rename it. So actually, you know what? Fine. Let's go to references here. We're just going to do a little bit of compilation code here and say if Unity editor, oops, and if we're just going to set our we'll set our cached game object dot name. I guess I don't need to do that. I can just do name, can't I? Name is equal to sound source plus sound dot name. And you know what? We'll just do a string dot format. Ah, come on. You can do this. String dot format. There we go. So again, if you watch my previous streams, you'll know that I don't really like. Oh, wow, that was messed up. I don't really like doing name changes because they're kind of pointless and they generate garbage. But when you're editing in the editor, or when you're debugging in the editor, they can be useful. So I only change their name in the editor because if you change their name at runtime, it's basically worthless because you can't really see the name of an object unless you're debugging for it. And if you're debugging for it, well, chances are you don't want the final build to do that anyway. So that's just a bunch of extra garbage that you wouldn't need to really have in your final end game. So this should help it be a little bit easier to identify which one's playing what. Oh, except I totally forgot. I need to do that for my other thing down here. There we go. Oh, except I can't say sound.name. I need to do sound.clip.name. There we go. Cool. So now it should be a little bit easier for me to see which one is playing what. And then I can also go over here to music system and say, we'll do fading instance dot sources. Do that. Okay. So now I should know without a shadow of a doubt which one it thinks that it's fading, and I can determine if that's the correct one or not. Should be a lot easier. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not trying to do anything particularly crazy, but I seem to be running into a weird roadblock here. You never know. Alright, let's go ahead and do music 4. Ah, come on. Oh, that's interesting. So it weirdly does think that it should be fading it, but it's not. I'm curious if I crossfade again and then crossfade again. Does that do it? No. Interesting. Do I have something in the actual coroutine for sound source that's doing this then? That would be really, really dumb of me. Pitch, loop, nope, that's all just regular. Huh. Okay. Um, well, let's go ahead and, I guess, debug all the way down here. So debug.log 1, 2, 3. Also, hold on. Yeah, nope, there was no check there. Lerping from start to end volume. That's all good. Yeah, that's... I guess we'll also go ahead and just debug start volume plus end volume. Make sure that they're trying to lerp to the correct ones. Because maybe I've done something stupid here where it doesn't... It's like setting its end volume to be 1 regardless of what I've passed. Alright, let's go ahead and try that. Do that here. No, we already know what that's going to be. Okay, so now we should get like a full stack trace for the most part of what all is happening. Okay, compiled. We'll do music 6, just so we don't have to hear the flute. Oh, did it not play? Hey-oh! Interesting. One of these things is not like the other. Oh, it's because I muted it. Duh. Alright. I'm also going to go ahead and turn down my volume to 15 decibels. Or negative 15 decibels a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. It stopped them. Huh. Okay. Hmm. So I do have one that's fading from 1 to 1, but that's not really... So it's making it through that full trace. That's good to know. But I would think that this first one would be the one that we're trying to crossfade that's active currently. And then the second one would be the one that we're trying to bring up from 0. Interesting. Huh. I don't know what would cause this. So curious. 10 to 1. 10 to 1 says that it's something stupid, though. Because it always is. It always is. Let's go ahead and keep that. We'll do start volume and volume. Let's get rid of the stack trace stuff here. Don't need it. But I will come back down here, and I'm also just going to go ahead and debug name plus this stuff. Just so that I can ensure that it is the correct thing. I mean, this should be what it's trying to do, but you never know. I guess I should also go ahead and make sure. Let's go back here to music system. Let's see if. Oh. No, that's. Hold on. Oh my goodness. That is. Wow, that's terrible of me. It's because I was doing this, wasn't it? This should just be target indexes. of I. Oh, goodness gracious me. I am incredibly dumb. At least I think I am. So we'll find out. I'm pretty sure that what was happening there was I was basically telling it to lerp to itself every time. Hey, I knew it would be something stupid like that. It always is. Alright, so let's try this again. Yep. Ah, I knew it was something dumb. Yep. Alright, so we're going to want to, one, make sure that this stuff loops when we do our music test. Make sure that I'm doing that. Am I doing that? Good. And next we're going to go ahead and actually do music 6. It's a little hard to tell if it's actually progressing along the linear path because the first two songs are kind of repetitive. So music 6 should help with this. Okay, so this is coming along pretty well. Okay, the next time I crossfade back to the next music, it should be a very different piece. Cool. So that's working. Now we need to work on a stop function, which is kind of funny that I did that before I did the or after I did the crossfade function. It seems like stop would have been a more basic functionality. In any case, mind if I show your screenshots off, Garrett? Just because, I like to be polite and ask people if they care if I show them. And cool. So this is, do you want to go ahead and I guess describe what we're looking at so that everyone has an idea of it? Because obviously I could try to come up with stuff, um, but then I would just be, making stuff up. Like here we are worshiping at the frozen log. That's the Temple of the Frozen Log for its correct full name, of course. Uh, dang, got some nice fog going on, man. So let's see. Showing off the terrain and stuff, season changing behavior. You can see the snowfalls on exposed tiles but not covered ones. Oh, yeah. Huh. Or is that, it's a little hard to tell from that angle because that kind of looks like a shadow and light difference to me, but that could just be because I'm seeing it in a still. Um, hmm. Is there a way to cycle without having? Oh, good. I was gonna say I'm getting tired of going back like that. Um, there's better examples. Yeah, it looks like a shadow. Yeah, I believe that you have a cover sensitive snowfall. Just saying that that one image looked like it was shadow. There we go. That's a good example. Yeah. Nice. How are you doing the snow accumulation? Is that just like um a texture lerp that happens? basically like vertex coloring or something. Volumetric light on the campfire. It's a little hard to tell in this picture. Maybe other ones have a better example. Yeah, that's really nice accumulation. Although I guess the next step for you would be figuring out how to make it organically spread, because it's kind of funny that it's just like a hard line. Snow is from Uber shaders. Do a raycast to determine if it should use normal or use the normal or snow material. Okay. Is that just like a? I have Uber, but I haven't actually used them. Is that just a slider that you can affect, like a float value? Nice day-night stuff. Oh man, got the God rays going on. Yeah, it's all or nothing since they are different models. Okay, that's fair. Uh, yeah, I feel like typically blending is one of the most I, I'd say difficult, but I feel like complicated things is a better or complicated is a better descriptor. Just because it's super weird to do sometimes. But yeah. Um, well, cool. Looks like it's coming along pretty well. Um, oh man, day-night cycles, so complicated. Well, thank you for posting those, Garrett. A bunch of settings, but yeah, it's all Uber. Cool. Does Uber allow you to do like add your own nodes to it, or is it all just sort of like baked into a black box that you can't really do much with? Okay, so let's go ahead and get a stop behavior coded. Yes, cat, I see you. No, you can't get on top of my keyboard. All right, let's go back to our music system. So we have crossfade. Let's go ahead and do public static void stop. That's going to take a float crossfade is equal to 2f. Let's see, do I want anything else? Jeez. Should I allow stopping of individual indexes? No. I was going to say maybe I could have like a stop behavior that targets specific indexes, but in that case, I wouldn't actually want to stop them because when I stop them, they get removed from my indexes or my list of sources. So I should instead simply say if you want to fade something out to 0, when you have a bunch of them playing at once, you want to use crossfade, not stop. Well, the shaders are exposed and you could edit them. I'm not touching that. It's all voodoo. I don't know about voodoo. I feel like hoodoo is a little bit more descript, but also, welcome, Claril. Welcome back. How are you doing tonight? All right, so for stopping behavior, we want to just go ahead and say for int I equals 0, I is less than instance dot sources dot count I plus plus, and we're just going to say instance. Actually, you know what? Yeah, instance dot sources of I dot stop. I guess that's all I have to do. And we'll pass it the crossfade. Is that correct? Yep. Do I need to do anything else, really? No, I don't. Which kinda, to me, makes me think I should just do this. Stop. I feel like I should actually move that into a private function just for consistency's sake. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say private void stop music. Go ahead and do this. Mostly so I'm not calling static functions from my non-static functions. So I can just say stop music. That should all work. Oh, yes, and of course, float crossfade. Crossfade. Cool. Hey, good. Finally moving on to content for a demo instead of just working on tools. What tooling have you been doing for a while? Let's go ahead and move this. that. Crossfade, 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 which means that this is actually just going to do instant dot stop music. Ta-da! So very basic to do the stop functionality. Okay. So I suppose wow, actually that's kind of like the basics for all I really need for my sound system. And already I just want to do a quick comparison. So Music Manager is the original music like management system that I wrote. It was, goodness gracious me. Whew. Jeez. So this one was 430 lines long, and the new one is 208 lines long, and it is already more adaptive and responsive, and will handle multiple audio sources all playing at the same time, as opposed to Music Manager, which could only handle up to 3. Take that, past Chris! You sucked. Ha ha ha. Alright, so that feels pretty good. Custom editor stuff for building, managing NPC schedules, all of Majora's Mask. Oh, okay. Credit you with providing me the confidence to actually dive into Unity. Ah, well, thank you very much. I feel very special, actually. Well, yeah, feel free to, if you're experimenting with all of that stuff and you ever get stuck, feel free to send me a message or something if you have any questions. Because I do really like doing editor stuff now. Oh man, what was some of the stuff that I recently did at work? I've kind of turned into the tool guy at work, so I make really weird stuff. And so the thing I did recently is I dove into system reflection stuff to figure out how that all works, and I came up with a custom importer for textures and models that exposes all of the fields that you can possibly use for those things when you're importing them, but I didn't hard code any of it. It was all done dynamically using the actual class information. It was so cool. I was so happy when I did it. I even allowed for custom inspectors of specific fields, so I could do like on texture importing for anisotropic filtering. It's not just an int field; it's actually a slider from 0 to 16. It's like so cool when I got that working. Oh, and it alphabetizes them too, so the fields are presented to you in alphabetical order, so you can easily identify everything. Sorry. Tool guy, Chris Henderson. A huge tool. Yeah, I feel like I should have that on a t-shirt, honestly. Getting reflection into the mix is crazy powerful. Yeah. I didn't... Oh, actually, something that I can do that I haven't shown you guys yet, but I've added it to my sound manager stuff. Let's go ahead and go up to music test real quick. I'm gonna make these guys sound IDs like I originally said I was going to. Let's go ahead and let that go. It's gonna complain, but yep, because of that whole thing. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you, Unity. You can compile. So I need a sound manager for it to actually do anything. Let me go ahead and pull mine in. Do I have my sound manager on here? I do. Excuse me. Oh, you know what? You know what? It's fine. We'll just do that. So if I go up here, I now have a test button that will actually use Unity's editor scripts to let you listen to the audio clip that this sound ID is. So I can just do all that fun stuff. It's still a little weird because you'll notice that these change to say stop, but they won't. They should change back automatically when the sound is over. But for some reason, the way editor scripting works, it seems like they don't actually update, or rather, the GUI doesn't update until you click on something. I don't quite know why that is, but yeah. Either way, it's super cool to be able to use Unity's editor audio functionality to just listen to audio without having to search for the audio clip and do all that fun stuff. But yeah, reflection is super cool and kind of weird, and it's just odd to do stuff with it. But once you get the hang of it, it's really cool. In any case, so let's go ahead and add a stop button, just so that we can, you know, test out the stop functionality. So stop button. Let's go ahead and just say a position of 200, and we'll change that to say stop. Cool. We will also need to add that, of course, to our music test. So let's go ahead and say public button stop button, not stop button L. Let's see. Private void on stop clicked. Go down here. We'll say stop button dot on click dot add listener on stop clicked. Music system dot stop. All right. Yeah, firing an on GUI event to force an update seems to fix it most of the time. Yeah, see, that's the thing is I've messed with this sort of thing before, and it's not consistent enough for me to be comfortable doing it. There are just some weird behaviors in Unity's GUI behavior. I've also run into weird situations where setting the value of a field through code will sometimes not actually force it to update. And it's incredibly infuriating when that happens. Because I've done tooling for things like basically setting prefab values, but having a single prefab so you can share that prefab across a bunch of different things. But then each thing can know what values it needs to set on that prefab. But there's a lot of weird editor scripting going on there, and sometimes it doesn't quite look the way I want. It's a limitation of Unity, from what I can tell. I even asked the experts at Unite this year, and their response, again, like most of the questions I asked, was kind of like Actually, with that one, I did get a little bit of help there. He said to try registering undo on the object, but I was already doing that, and it was using Unity's serialization stuff, so it's weird. I don't know. In any case, let's go ahead and try this. Oh, I thought for a second it wasn't stopping, and I was about to make a comment like, if it doesn't stop, I'm going to be embarrassed, because that's just really easy functionality. Okay, so that works. And it does actually stop it, which is good. Okay. So, with that, it seems like the basics for my system are in place. The only thing I could really, I mean, technically I haven't tested my sound and int ID stuff, but that all eventually ties back into the basic audio clip playing, so I'm not really that concerned with that. So ideally, what I would do as a final test is just throw together a little like experiment level, which I guess I can do actually. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh God, no! Not that song. Ah, that movie. That movie is the bane of my existence. Actually, it's not the bane of my existence, but its songs are so catchy. I'm not going to lie. Either way, welcome, Sky. Or welcome back. How are you doing tonight? Alright, so I'm going to throw a fun little design level together real quick, just to simulate fading audio in and out as we go from different audio sources. So, let's see. First up, let's go ahead and get our FPS controller. Oh, really? I don't have a prefab for that. I don't. Well, that's interesting. Huh. Fair enough. Alright, I'm just going to pull in the player prefab then. Let's see, player, prefabs. Player. Go ahead and pull you in. You can do it. You can do it, Unity. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and create some environment stuff. So we'll make a plane. All right. It is. Doing, I don't know, got a math test in a few hours. Haven't gotten any sleep either. What level of math are we talking? We talking, because depending on the level of math, that could be terrible. You know, calculus really sucks on not a lot of sleep. Can't study for the test because I don't have my books. Well, that is brutal. All right, I'm also going to go ahead and change this to. I was going to say something less obnoxious than all white, except can't really do anything with that. So cool, cool. Do I not have like a gray material? I don't. Do I have a gray material? I do have a gray material. That's good. Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this, I don't know, 3 by 3. Freaking. Who thought it was a good idea to not automatically select fields in 2017.2? Either way, this looks good enough. I'm going to go ahead and just throw 3 colored spheres in here. So UI, or not UI, I'm doing that too much. Cube. Let's go ahead and make this, I'm guessing I have a red. I do. Good for me. Go ahead and have a red cube here. Go ahead and fade this. Okay. Come on. One more over. There we go. Yeah. These probably need to be as far away as possible from each other. So blue mat. Come on. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this one up a little bit more. Just duplicate this one. Drag it all the way across. To there, and we'll do this one as green. Cool. Glad that I have these debug materials in here. So this one is going to be, well, kind of weird. Because oh man, this is going to be super weird actually. I'm basically going to constantly be crossfading, I think. No, you know what? I'm going to handle this differently. I was gonna try to like crossfade based on the distance that I was from each cube. But instead, I think I'm going to set up a bounding box trigger volume around them. And when you enter that, it's going to crossfade to their song. And when you exit, it's going to crossfade to the standard song. So I'll have 4 songs playing at once, but only one of them should be audible at any time, except for when they're crossfading. So let's try that. This is going to be interesting. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to want to have... I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to scale these guys up. So 10 by 10 by 10. Yeah, that's fine, I think. Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and just move that forward a little bit. So 5 or -5, I guess. And actually, I guess -3. Yeah, that's good. All right. So 10 by 10 by 10 with -5. Oh, sorry, -3. Except one's going to be +3. Cool. We'll make them all triggers, and then we'll set them to be, well, to do things. But first I'm going to walk around, make sure that I don't rocket up into the sky. Whatever. I've gotten only B's so far this year. Haven't studied for a test yet, so it'll go fine, I guess. Oh, right, and I probably also need to get rid of my main camera. Cool. Or maybe just turn it off for now. Cool. Okay. So for this, we're going to need to have another test script real quick. Where'd my test stuff go? There we go. Music. So we'll call this one music room test. Go ahead and load that up. All right, so this one is going to be a little different. So first things first, I'm going to have a public audio clip array, and that's going to be our room music. We'll go ahead and say public int default index is equal to 0. So this will just be the music that's active when we want to play. Go ahead and say private void start. We're going to say music system dot play room music. Let's see. With crossfade of 2f, looping is going to be set to true, volume is going to be set to 1f, and the target index is going to be our default index. Also, I kind of feel like I should make this true on loop by default. Because if you're crossfading constantly between an array of audio clips, I feel like they should just loop by default. Not that it matters, because of the default index thing, I really don't like having that at the end like that. I kind of feel like I should have a second function that just has a... You know what, I'm going to do that, actually. So I'm basically going to just do this. So give me a second here. I'm going to call play. Let's go ahead and basically move this up to the front. So it's not going to do the... It's going to do sort of the same thing, except this will only take one index instead of, however many you need. And the idea there is just that it's just going to be target index singular, like that. Mostly so that I can just do the short form. I can just do the music array, and then the index that I want to be active. I think that's a good compromise, honestly. All right, so let's go ahead and I guess we'll go ahead and do that here as well. You got to do that for all of them. Do the same thing. I'm gonna move this all. Get rid of the extra spaces. And we'll go ahead and do. Where are you? Here we are. And we'll just call play music target index. Oops, not that. Crossfade loop volume and then target index. Cool. So we have another shorthand. Then we have the last one, which is going to be up here or down here, I suppose. Ah, dang it. There we are. We're just going to change this to a sound. Same thing. All's good. Cool. So now I can just do this. Boop. Much better. And that's all that pretty much needs to be. We're going to need to have like a music cube test, I guess, since it's going to have to do the on trigger enter listening and all that. So let's go ahead and do that. When Unity feels like it, of course. I don't want to push it. Don't want to rush it. That would be rude. So let's go ahead and say C# music music cube test. Capital T. We're not savages here. Not barbarians. Alright. Cool. So this is going to say private void on trigger enter. Not in enter. Enter. Collider call. We're also going to have private void on trigger exit. Collider call. Cool. Let's also go up here and say public int index is equal to 0. So this will be the index that it tries to crossfade to. So we'll say music system dot crossfade. Oh, you know what? Same thing on crossfade. We need to have a convenience function. So public static void crossfade with int target index float crossfade is equal to 2f, and then float volume is equal to 1f. We'll just call crossfade volume and then target index with that. Very simple, very nice. Come back here. That means that I can just simply call. Okay, good. That's fine. Index. Nice and simple. And then on trigger. Oh, right. I need to do a default. So public int default index is equal to 0. So we're going to do the same thing here, except we'll say default index. We name this to cube index, just for a little bit of an easier differentiation between them. Cool. So with those two scripts, I should be able to basically walk around the area, and whenever I enter the collider for one of those cubes, it should start to crossfade to its song, and then when I leave that area, it should crossfade back to the base room song. So let's go ahead and no, that's off. Nope, not that. There we go. So this is going to be our music room test. Then on each of these guys, we're going to have a music, not room, music cube test. Cool. So you'll be 1. Actually, nope, you'll be 2. You'll be 3. You'll be 1. Funny enough. All right. So room music is going to have an array size of 4. With the default. Oof. I really don't have good music. I need to get more. Okay, so let's do 3, 4, 5. All right. So this should basically crossfade as I walk around the room, at least if I'm doing this right. Let's see what happens. I'm hopeful. Cool. So, cool. So I can crossfade pretty well. Now we're going to actually have to do something a little less fun. It's going to sound like the worst thing ever. Jeez. I'm gonna actually add a different function to our music system. It's gonna behave similarly to crossfade, but I'm going to actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna do this. Additive is equal to false, and then this is going to say additive is equal to false. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and get rid of you. Say bool additive. I guess is equal to false as well. Oh, and additive. So with this, it's going to be a little weird because basically what I'm going to do is when I crossfade, I want to have the option of crossfading to something, in which case it'll fade everything else out, or crossfading on top of what already is playing, in which case I don't actually want to fade out what already is happening. So let's go over here. What's going on? I would try to do the voice. I was debating trying to do the actual voice, except I'm pretty sure I can't do that. Or if I did, it would sound terrible and terrifying, and people might try to swarm my house with pitchforks and torches, I would assume. Uh, all right, so with this, we're going to go ahead and say if not additive, then we're going to fade everything else out. So as expected. Um, right. Okay, so this is actually going to get a little interesting. Am I even using you for anything? I am, okay. So this actually is going to change our behavior a little bit here. We're going to say if additive, we're going to do something else. We're going to do this. So if it's not additive, then we're just going to clear our list of active indexes and then add the current target indexes. But if it is additive, then we just need to say, yeah, we got a loop. Boo for int I equals 0. I is less than target indexes dot length I plus plus. If not instance dot active indexes dot contains target indexes of I. So if it doesn't already contain it, then we will add that target index. I'll say instance dot active indexes dot add target indexes of I. That's just to prevent it from doubling up, or quadrupling, tripling. I like how I went up then down, quintupling. I don't know. So that should handle that a little bit better. Let's go over here to music test. Crossfade. Oh, that's right. I'm crossfading. I'm not. Well, wait, no, that's not right. Uh-oh. Ooh. Is there ambiguity there? No, that can't possibly be ambiguous. Although it's weird because it seems to think that there is. So I'm going to go ahead and say false, followed by false here. Weird. Okay. Don't know what's going on there. Now that's correct. Although, funny enough, I can actually just do this, can't I? Same thing. Okay, let's go back to our music cube test. We're going to want to say crossfade cube index true, so it's additive. And otherwise, it's going to be treated as false, which is fine. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh man, this is... I just realized that I might also be have a little bit of extra functionality that I need to do. I might need to allow the ability to crossfade specific ones instead of just crossfading whatever is active and then whatever your target ones are. I might want to allow for crossfading of very specific ones. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we'll let this go. This is going to suck. Oh. That did not seem to do what I expected. So it should have been additive, but it wasn't. Okay. Oh, I know what happened. Or I'm guessing this is what happened. I don't think I actually coded in the crossfade behavior, did I? Oh, no, I did. Well, crap. Interesting. Well, I am not sure what the problem is then. Let's see. Target indexes, set volume. Oh, and yes, so for this I want to say if not active indexes dot contains target indexes of I think that's correct. That way I'm not needlessly doing a coroutine. Not additive. So we're setting additive to be true here, which meant that this entire thing should be skipped. Interesting. Did it not save or something? Seems odd. We'll find out. I guess I'll also go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so for the most part, the music system actually seems to already be a bit of a step up from where it was before. And it's going to be, well, it'll allow us to use the sound system if we so desire. It'll allow us to do sound IDs, making things a lot easier. And we can have an arbitrary number of crossfades and arbitrary number of music playing at the same time, and crossfade between them if desired. So that's always a positive. So let's try this. There we go. Like I said, cacophony of sound. All right, so I suppose the only thing really left that I can think to do real quick is see, I don't. Yeah, so this might be actually set up with the wrong mindset, the crossfade stuff. These two functions are basically meant to say crossfade from 0 to 1 for one thing and crossfade from 1 to 0 for another, or an arbitrary number of things. But the point is that there is something that gets faded to 0 and something that gets faded to 1. And by the end, I have a new set of active things. But that might not be what I actually want to happen. I might want to just simply crossfade a particular thing that's playing down to like half volume or something. And I can't really use these two crossfade functions for that. So I don't know if I want to have like a set volume, maybe. I mean, that could work. Yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Mostly so I don't forget this, but I think this will be the last thing we do tonight. Static void set volume int target index. We'll say float. We'll still call it crossfade 2f, and then float volume is equal to 1. I guess actually that should go ahead of it. So this will actually be float volume, and that one won't be automatically filled in because it could be anything. Then we'll go ahead and say public static void set volume. Same thing, float volume, float crossfade is equal to 2f, and then an int array. So params int array, and then target indexes. Cool. Just have all sounds playing at all times and adjust their volumes to turn them on or off. Always make the coding choice with the most interesting bug potential. Well, to be fair, that's kind of what I'm doing for this with the whole crossfade thing. The point of it is that I want to be able to have multiple songs playing at the same time that then I can crossfade to seamlessly. Now, the point isn't to just have a bunch of random songs playing, of course. It's meant to be something like you'd have a standard version of a song and then an underwater version of the song playing. They have to be playing alongside one another, but only one should be really audible at a given time. The idea is that you just seamlessly crossfade between those. And I'm a big fan of that style of music. Now, that exact situation can't really happen in TextQuest, but at least right now. But I want to prepare for what I'm eventually going to need musically. So this is going to call set volume. We will pass volume, crossfade, and then target index. All right. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do what I've been doing. So I'm going to go ahead and say private void crossfade music. Use ice. I want to move all this fun stuff down there. Mostly so that I don't have like bulky static scripts or static functions. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Okay. So I can move all of this fun stuff. It also means that my code isn't going to have a lot of instance dots in it anymore. Just going to say like active indexes. See, I can get rid of all of that. Isn't that nice? Let's see, what else do I have? Instance dot sources. Basically, the big thing is that I can just get rid of all of the instance dot stuff that I was doing. We're good there. Change this to a lowercase a. Lowercase a. Lowercase a. KKK. We're all good. Alright. So with this, I can just say crossfade. Oh, sorry. Did that wrong. Instance dot crossfade music. Additive. Crossfade. And target indexes. Cool. Nice and simple. And then that also means that I'm going to come down here. So, was that above crossfade? That was. Alright, fair enough. So we're going to put that here. Private void set, I guess we'll say set music volume. Let's see, play music, set volume. Say instance dot set music volume. Oh yes, and by the way, just out of curiosity, how many people are still watching? Because the counter only says 1, and I never know if that counter is accurate. So I don't know if I need to feel depressed right now, or if I should just feel sad that Twitch isn't, accurate 100% of the time. It's probably the former for the most part, but in any case, so this is going to be volume. Oh, wow, that was. There we go. Volume, crossfade, target indexes. Cool, cool, cool. Wow. There you go. And let's go ahead and move all this fun stuff. Yeah, I never know what to expect from the Twitch counter, because I know that it's been wrong in the past before, but I always get super paranoid that I see a bunch of numbers drop off, and I'm like, I'm terrible. Which there's probably some modicum of truth to that, and by modicum I mean large amount. But it's I'm never really too sure if that counter is even close to being accurate, but it might actually be in this case. Okay, so for set music volume, I'm basically going to be doing the same thing that Crossfade is doing for the most part, except I'm not going to do anything with our active indexes. I'm just going to say, so we'll just loop through this. So for int I equals 0, I is less than target indexes dot length I plus plus. And we're just going to say sources of I, oh, not I, of target indexes of I dot set volume crossfade. Excuse me, crossfade. Okay. I probably should. Ugh. I probably should do a check after that. That then says, no, that doesn't really work. Basically, I don't know if I should tell. Actually, you know what? No, this will work. Let me think real quick. Basically, my problem is right now. I don't know if I should say if you fade your volume down to 0, should I then mark that specific source as not active if it is active, or if you set it from 0 to something else, should I then mark it as active? And I think the answer to both of those is yes. So let's go ahead and say if volume is equal to 0f, or how about is less than or equal to 0f, we're going to do something. Else, okay, so if it is less than or equal to 0f, we're going to say if active indexes dot contains target indexes of I, then we will say active indexes dot remove target indexes of I. So if it's crossfading to 0, then we want to remove it. And then otherwise, it's basically going to be the opposite. If it doesn't contain it, then we will add it. Cool. So that's just a little bit of sort of, I was going to say structure keeping, but that's not a term. I was also going to say set dressing, but that's also not a term. Basically, it's a way to make sure that we're always accurate. So if a thing is active, it means that its volume is above 0. If it's not active, that means that its volume is 0, even if they're all playing at the same time. So I don't really know a good test case for that, honestly. I guess I could just tell it to set the music volume with our music cube test. I mean, that would work. Okay, so let's go ahead and comment that out. Ooh, okay, sure, why not? We're just gonna say music system dot set volume. We'll give it a target index of cube index with a cross. We'll set our volume to be 1f and our crossfade to be whatever. Okay. So it should. What we're about to do is basically going to be the exact same thing. It's just so it should sound the same where it crossfades the audio in, and we're not really going to notice a difference. In a way, what I just did is kind of like the additive crossfade, but it's not going to try to do a bunch of extra stuff like check to see if it should turn off a bunch of other sounds or anything like that. So the same. I'm not going to say better, just different and more efficient. Okay. So that works. I don't really know what else needs to be added to my system. So I'm at 280 lines, which I will remind you is still way less than my original Music Manager class, and I already can do stuff that I couldn't do before. That is just so exciting. Yeah, let's see. So what can the music system do? Currently, it can play single or multiple audio clips. It will automatically crossfade any active music when it does try to play those clips. It can crossfade between clips or between active pieces of music. It can stop music, of course. It can also set the volume on specific pieces of music. And at that point, I don't really know what else there is to do with it. They're all, of course, being piped into the music audio mixer group. But yeah, I can't really think of any extra audio functionality that I need for music. At least on a basic level. Pretty much anything else that would probably be desired seems like it would be on a case by case basis, but not a general, like, this is what the music needs to do. Um, so, yeah. That, I think that's pretty good. Um, also, it's been 2 hours and 45 minutes almost, so that's probably a good place to stop for the night. Um, Let me think. Announcements. I should be good to stream this weekend. Seems like for the first time in a couple of weekends. Actually, I think that's exactly correct. The first time in a couple of weekends. Um, so Saturday, I'll be on roughly around 3, hopefully, and we'll be picking up our work on custom content stuff. And we'll see what we end up doing that day. I need to revisit that stuff because it's been a while. I haven't looked at that since 3 Saturdays ago. Um, all right. Any other announcements? Not until next week. So, all right. That's a pretty good place to stop for the night. We got our entire music system revamped. Not integrated yet, technically, but it has been. It's ready for integration. That actually makes me pretty happy. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.